Do. Hello and welcome to BFS Wargaming. So we're gonna have a little live chat about the weekend's events and what has been going on. So we're gonna have a look at Meta Monday. Meta Monday. It's a great website. Let's change. So we're gonna have a look at Meta Monday. If there's anyone in the chat, can you let me know what the audio is like? Let me know. Okay, so Meta Monday. It's a great website. So they collate all the data from the weekend. So we have the FLG RMO in Brighton, which was 198 players and 6 rounds. And the Blood Angels with Sons of Sanguinius went 6-0, which is really nice. Really good to see them playing their actual own detachment. Obviously got a buff in the data slate, so it was +2 strength, +1 attack or something along those lines on the charge. So it's really good to see that. I really like that. Then we've got World Eaters 6-0, which is really good as well to see, because I feel like World Eaters after the balanced data slate took a little bit of a nerf, and I wasn't sure if they were going to sort of be okay, but they seem to be doing all right. Drukhari with the Sky Splinter, a Knaptek Court, the Necrons, lots of Necrons. I think last time we done a Meta Monday, there wasn't actually that many Necrons there. But yeah, that's a lot of Necrons in 4th, 5th, and 6th. Space Marines Vanguard detachment. Chaos Demons is up there. I think Demons are probably sitting at a balance right now. I think they're a balanced army, so they're probably in the middle somewhere. Gene Sidicult, Tyranid Sisters, Tau Guard, Templars Ironstorm, which is very popular. Death Guard Grey Knights, Deathwatch Black Spear 5-1. Very nice. It's nice to see the Black Spear again with Deathwatch. So it's really cool. Chaos Space Marine and Custodes. And to come 17th and go 5-1 in a tournament that big is is impressive. So then we have the Open Aula-Vera 2024 Iberian Open, which is in Spain. In Talavera of the Queen, Reina. Spain, 107 players, 5 rounds. So Grey Knights went 7-0. Very nice. Grey Knights, I think, are really strong at the moment. I think they have the tricks to score the points, and now with the Dread Knights back in there, they can start dealing more damage and things. So I think that's really good for them. Then we have the Grey Knights in second as well, with five wins, draw, and a loss. Imperial Knights up there, which is good to see, 5-1. Space Wolves 5-1. Then we've got Tau, Death Guard, Custodes. Not so many Custodes up there this week. Blood Angels, Eldar, Necrons, Knaptek Court, Custodes, Drukhari. Nice, good mix. And then we have the Battlefield Birmingham, which was a 5-round event, 84 players. A Grey Knights, and I believe this was a Mani Chima, went 5-0 with 5 Dread Knights, 2 of them obviously Grandmasters, and 3 Land Raiders, and some Tech Marines and some Henchmen. So very cool, interesting list from Manny there. Space Wolves with Stormlance went 5-0 as well. Very nice, very good. Another Grey Knights at 3rd. Custodes, Orcs, Tyranids, Necrons. So Necrons Hypercrypt came 7th. Nice, more Necrons in there. Interesting. Again, quite a good spread. We've got some Imperial Knights down in 16th. Like, it's quite a few different armies up there, which shows you that the meta is actually pretty good. And all of them, every tournament so far that we've looked at has had a good spread. Okay, we have a 49-player 5-round one in Tal Visota, Winter Assault, which is a Guard 1, Black Templars Iron Storm. Came second and Death Guard third. Thousand Suns fourth, Tyranids fifth, Tyranids sixth, both with Invasion Fleet. And then we've got a Votann at seventh and a Sisters at eighth. Again, nice mix of armies. Then we have the JP Cup in Poland, 46 players, 5 rounds, WTC scoring. We have Orcs, went 5-0. Orcs haven't been doing so well lately because I feel like because Custodes have probably been keeping them down a little bit. But you've got a couple of Necrons in there, Death Guard, World Eaters, Custodes. Very interesting. Then we have Bastion Games Warlords GT, which is 41-player 5-round in Northern Ireland. WTC scoring, and that is a Necrons Canaptech Court went 5-0. I do think the Canaptech Court at the moment is probably a little bit stronger than the Hyper Crypt, just because of the Wraiths, I think. Just if you've got that many Wraiths. I mean, I don't know what this list is, but a lot of Wraiths is strong. Thousand Suns 4-1, Black Templars 4-1, Blood Angels with Suns again at 4th place, very nice, and Tyranids up there. Tyranids aren't winning events, but they're actually, they're not doing badly. I'm thinking when maybe, if they bring Custodes and Necrons down a little bit, armies like Tyranids probably actually don't need changing, but they will go up inevitably because some of the stuff's come down. Then we have the CQ Exterminators. Which is Rockhampton City in Australia, 40 players, 5 rounds. Another Blood Angels, Sons of Sanguinius attachment. This is great to see. Really nice to see. I actually don't really like when the Blood Angels, Space Wolves and stuff are taking... I understand why Space Wolves are having to, but like taking the Codex Space Marine chapters stuff, I think they should have their own ones because they're not Codex compliant. Then we have Custodes 4-0, Necrons 4-1, Tal 4-1, Chaos Demons 4-1. See, Demons up there again. Demons are doing all right. Yeah, very interesting. Good spread again. Hyper Crypt Necrons up there. Then we have the Lords of War GT. Or Lords of War GT, sorry. So this is March 2024. So Madison, I think that's Atlanta. 35 players, 5 rounds. Sisters at the top with some Tau, Necrons Tau. Tau doing well. Nice. Again, good spread. Demons are up there. Tyranids up there. And then we have Toys of Mass Destruction, Hertfordshire, England, 33 players, 5 rounds. Templars at Ironstorm take the win there. Necrons in second. Drukhari third. Drukhari are looking pretty good at the moment, like that 50%. They seem quite balanced. Tau at 4th, Custodes. Then we have the Votann. Votann took a win. 33 players, 5 rounds. Custodes, Necrons, Canaptech Court. That's good. Black Templars took the win here at the last of the Summer Winehammer. 30 players, 5 rounds. Idol, the IDs of March, which is 30 players, 5 rounds. Tau took the win there. Necrons in second. Space Marines. I mean, Necrons have been up there in most of these somewhere. It shows you they are strong. Genestealer Cult in 4th, which is nice to see. Black Templars. Then we have the BFS Grand Tournament. The tournament I ran at the weekend was really cool. 27 players, 5 rounds. So we had, what we're going to do is, these are the last two. So we'll look at Energy City Open, which is 22 players, 5 rounds. Chaos Knights took the win there. I wonder if it was, I'm assuming it was the Armiger, the sort of War Dog spam. Custodes, Grey Knights, Black Templars, Dark Angels. So we'll have a look at these top 4 armies and the players. So we'll start off with the Drukhari, which was Julio's army. So he was running Sky Splinter. Julio done really well. He faced some tough opponents and got some good wins, beating Mike with his Death Guard. So Drukhari Sky Splinter Assault, he also beat in the last game Kryton with his Necrons as well. So 3 Archons, the Beastmasters, 2 units of Racks, 2 units of Witches, and we had 2 Raiders, and then 4 Venoms with Kronos, 3 units of 3 units of 5 Incubi, sorry, 2 units of Mandrakes, and then the 3 Scourge units, 2 with Dark Lance, 1 with Haywire, and then the Death Jester. I think the list worked really, really well, and Julio's a great player, so it was really good to see. Then we had, in third place was Harley Scully here. So his list was Grandmaster, who went with the Paladins. We had Caldor Drago, who went with the Terminators. Got a Strike Squad. We've got 2 Interceptor Squads, which can move, shoot, move. We had the Nemesis Dread Knight, Nemesis Dread Knight with the Great Hammers and the Incinerators and Side Cannons to apply some pressure and do some damage. This Paladin squad, ignoring all the modifiers, Harley said that had done a lot of work for him, that Paladin squad, over the weekend. He just kept moving it, picking it up, and then getting it so that he wasn't, so his opponent wasn't getting cover. Then he had a Calidus Assassin, and then the Voidsman at Arms, just to, hold the back objective or do whatever. Maybe deploy in the middle, whatever it was they were doing. So yeah, Harley did well. He went 4-1 as well. So him and Julio both went 4-1. Julio lost to Jack, who was the Demon player, and Harley lost to Lee, who was the Necron player. So we'll go and have a look at Jack's Demon list. I think this is a really cool list, and Jack played it brilliantly all weekend. He was very unlucky in the final to just miss out. So we had Be'lakor, he had the Great Unclean One, Rotigus, and Shalaxi Hellbane. I think Shalaxi was just going around sniping characters, smashing stuff up. Like, Shalaxi was a beast. Then we have 4 units of 3 Nurglings, the Pink Horrors, the Plague Bearers, objective stuff, along with the Flesh Hounds. Score some objectives, do some stuff, screen out with Nurglings, that sort of thing. So, yeah, he played it really, really well. It was a great list, and I think it was a really fun list as well. Although, not to take away that it wasn't competitive, it was very competitive, but also I think it was fun. And then the winner, we had Lee Hall from 40k Gaming. So Lee took the Knaptek Court. He had the Void Dragon. He said he took the Void Dragon because he just finished painting it and he really wanted to use it. He had 2 Technomancers, one with the Infiltrate. Then we had 3 Knaptek Doomstalkers, which I think were pretty good for him all weekend. He was telling me, and also with Overwatching on 5s, getting full rerolls, it's just super strong. Then he had 3 units of Knaptek Wraiths, obviously 2 Technomancers, a Technomancer with each of these 2, and then 1 without. He had 5 Death Marks for point scoring, 2 Lockhusk Destroyers, again, for point scoring, really, and then he had 2 units of Scorpek Destroyers to, I'm assuming, like, rapid ingress and come in and do some damage. So, yeah, Lee took the win against Jack in the final, really, really close. So, yeah, it was just a really nice weekend overall. Everyone had a really good time. And it was great to see that the different lists, how people played them, you had the sort of, you had like, there was 5 Necron players out of 26, 27. So that's a lot of, it was like 20%. So people were getting like 2 Necron matchups, which is quite harsh in such a small event. But it was great fun nonetheless, and I think everyone enjoyed it. Okay, so back to Meta Monday. We talked about BFS. So the takeaways they have had. Tau had a 57% win rate this weekend. 1 event win and 8 players that went X and O, an X 1. So it's quite high for the weekend. Templars 56%. The Tau and Templars, along with Blood Angels, Sun Sanguinius, have 2 things in common. A near 50% win rate into Crons and strongly favourability into Custodes. per stack check data. I think this shows in the results keeping Custodes in check and Necrons winning but not dominating the weekly numbers. So are these sort of good matchups into Necrons keeping them down? Necrons had 80 players this weekend with a 56 win rate, 18 going X and X and 1. With 2 event wins, they now have 14. Ooh, it's a lot of wins. A lot of event wins since the data slate. Custodes had 62 players, so not far behind Necrons, with a 54% win rate. But they didn't actually win anything, did they? 12 players went X and X and 1. No event wins this weekend. There must be something keeping them Custodes down. It's like maybe some bad matchups for these Custodes. Tyranids have 0 event wins in 1,300 plus games played since the data slate, and they had a 45% win rate this weekend. But they still, you do. I know 45% win rate's not that bad. It's sort of like somewhere between a 2 and 3 and a 3 and 2 player. But Tyranids are still up there. I just think maybe when some other stuff gets brought down the next data slate, I think Tyranids will be all right. Although that Biovore thing with the ammo is just ridiculous. Anyone in the chat, can you just let me know if the audio's all good? So then we have Admech. Admech have got 38% win rate at the weekend. With only 8 players. Yeah, Admech needs some love. I don't know how they need some love. Maybe they need to change the detachments rules or something. They need something to just give them that little boost. They're obviously underperforming. Generic Space Marines also had a 38% win rate this weekend and an overall win rate of 40% since the data slate. Yeah, it's like Space Marines can be really, really strong. Thanks, George. Orcs also keep falling with a 39% win rate, although they did get an event win, which is interesting. I think Custodes are keeping Orcs down a little bit, in my opinion. I think they lose that fight. So maybe they've got a new codex coming as well. So I'm hoping to see Orcs played in loads of different ways, which should be a lot of fun. Grey Knights won 2 events this weekend. I think Grey Knights are solid. I don't think you touch them. I think they're just a really good faction. I don't think they're overpowered necessarily. I just think they're a strong faction. And great to see Blood Angels with Sons of Sanguinius winning. Really, really nice. So, event wins since the data slate. 14 Necron wins. 6 Black Templars. Custodes, Aldari, Guard, and Sisters have each had 5. Tau, Votann, Dark Angels, and Space Marines have each had 3. Chaos Knights, World Eaters, Blood Angels, Chaos Space Marines, Orcs, and Admech have each had 2. This is since the balanced data slate. And Imperial Knights and SW Space Wolves have had 1. And then Nids, Genes to the Cult, Chaos Demons, and Deathwatch have had none. Very interesting. What do you guys think should be the fix for Necrons? All the good Marine players are playing BE or BT at the moment. I think there are loads of Templar players out there now. Black Templars or what's BE? Why is my brain not working? George, what's BE? Okay, so I just think Necrons need either the Wraiths or the Technomancer need to go up, and the C'tans need to go up, and maybe a limit on how many C'tans you can take. To be honest, I'd be fine with only being able to take 1, but Blood Angels, not BE. Yeah, Blood Angels, Black Templars. Yeah. Well, what happened to the other week? They were taking the Storm Ravens with Dark Angels, but I didn't see that this week in the Ironstorm. So Tau have a 52% win rate since the thing. We'll go off of since the data sheet, the data slate, because I think the weekend win rates don't particularly matter because it's obviously goes like up and down, doesn't it? So I think the data is better off of the win percentage since the data slate. So Black Templars have an overall 53%, but with Ironstorm they have a 66% win rate with Ironstorm since the data slate. Like, this is the thing with Space Marines, they're so hard to balance because you've got such a wide variety of units, and not just units, but you've got Black Templars can take Ironstorm, this can take that, this. They need to restrict things a lot more, and I think it would be easier to balance, because I think if you restrict all the Codex compliant chapters to the Codex, and then so anything that can take extra units, Space Wolves, Dark Angels, Black Templars, Deathwatch, all of them shouldn't be able to take the Space Marine chapters detachments, because it just throws all the data out. It throws all the data out, and it just shows you, you end up making stuff better, and then those armies just get better, and the actual Space Marines aren't as good. And obviously, it's such a big played faction that you're going to have a wide skill level. I'd like to see more restriction on the detachments and what you can use as a Marine player. What do you think, George? Okay. Next up is Firestorm Assault's got a 58% win rate, 57. Black Templars are just super strong, aren't they? I wonder if they're going to see any some points increases in the next data slate. George, 100% right on chapters. George agrees. So I think it would be a lot better way to be able to balance Space Marines if you restrict it all a little bit more. Then we have Necrons, who have a 54% win rate since the data slate, which is obviously in the Goldilocks zone. So, but then are there some things keeping them down? Are there a couple of armies that are keeping them in check? Because people will say that they're really not fun to play, they're obnoxious to play, the Wraiths, the Catan, stuff like that. So maybe they could go up a little bit, so you'd see a bit less of them, and then, or the ones that you do have, then you see a little bit less other stuff in the army, so they can't play the game as well. Maybe that's probably what the fix is. But I don't think they need to be hit too hard, Necrons, because I think if you start putting points up on multiple units, I think you could then end up really tanking them. Okay, next up is Genestealer Cult, who had a 55% win rate this weekend with 8 players. 45%, so they are still just in the Goldilocks zone with 45%. I'm assuming we'll see a few points decreases for them in the next data slate. I'm not expecting anything huge though, because Genestealer Cult are good. They've got a lot of tricks. You can get a lot of synergies with AP and stuff like that. Wraith shouldn't be allowed characters and leave the points alone. Interesting. Catan need more points. Catan definitely need to go up, in my opinion. If you say Wraiths can't take a Technomancer and then just leave it, does that fix the problem? I mean, obviously the durability of Wraiths goes right down, and yeah, I don't think they'd need a... And then the Technomancer wouldn't need a points increase either. Could be the fix. Could be the fix, George. You might be right. I'm not sure if they'll do that, but it could be the fix. So, Genestealer Cult, we said Adeptus Custodes, 54% this weekend and 54% overall. They've got quite a high player base, the same as Necrons, which also tells you if you've got a high player base and you've got a high win percentage, you're probably a little bit too strong. So, I would assume... I actually think the fix for Custodes is changing the Warden's 4-up Feel No Pain to a 5-up Feel No Pain. maybe. I think it makes them a little bit less brutal. What do we think in the chat? What do you think the fix for Custodes would be, or what do you think is going to happen in the data slate? Although they have got a codex coming out soon, haven't they? So they'd probably wait until that for any rule changes. The rule changes will be in that, I should think. Then we have Space Wolves. 53% this weekend, 49% overall. Interesting. They've each got a 50% win rate from the Gladius, Stormlance, and Firestorm, and then they have a 24% win rate from Champions of Rust, because that detachment's shit. Whoever came up with that was playing a narrative game or something, because that is just horrendous, that detachment. As you can see, one player played it. Then we have the Drukhari. Drukhari are, I think, sitting pretty good with Sky Splinter Assault. Now, Real Space Raider are only 38%. I think you can't really judge this, because I think all of the really strong Drukhari players, you know, Sky Splinter Assault is new. They're all going to be jumping over to it. I don't think many people are playing Real Space Raiders, so I don't think we can get a real good judge of where Real Space Raiders actually is, because I actually think Real Space Raiders would be better now. You're getting that extra AP, because AP is just, it's quite hard to come by, and if you're getting that extra AP, it's going to help a lot. And so I would be interested to see people like Scary and some of the sort of top players playing Real Space Raiders and seeing how much, you know, seeing how well they could do with them. I'd be very interested to see that. And also now you can take the Archon and the Incubi in Real Space Raiders. Yeah, you don't get the Lance, but you're still getting full rerolls to wound. They're still going to be brutal. Sisters of Battle. Sisters of Battle, I feel, are a strong army. I think they just have a slightly higher skill gap. I think in the right hands, they're one of the top armies. I mean, they're sitting at a 54% win rate since the since the data slate. You know, only 20 players at the weekend. I think their player base is smaller, but it seems super strong. So Blood Angels, 52% win rate overall, 45% win rate since the balanced data slate. Sons of Sanguinius, 62% win rate overall, 45% win rate. Sorry, 62% on the weekend, 45% win rate overall. I think, you know, they seem to have unlocked something with this Sons of Sanguinius. I don't know what the lists were, but it seems like they've unlocked something, and I think we're going to see that played more, and I think we're going to see that 45% win rate go up. So anything else but Angels is quite low. Then we have the Leagues of Votann, sitting at 52% with a 49% win rate, 52% over the weekend. I think Leagues of Votann are actually in a pretty good place. I don't think they necessarily need to be touched. I don't think they're top tier, but I think they're probably in the middle of the pack, and I think that's fine for their index. Let's wait till they get a codex, maybe some, like, they get more rules, more detachments, see what happens there. That will be interesting to see when their codex drops, what they're getting. Also, I'm expecting more units for Leagues of Votann, so that should be really cool. Then we have the Grey Knights. Grey Knights 50% win rate, 52% over the weekend, 32 players. I think Grey Knights are fantastic. I think they're, again, I don't think they need to be touched in the upcoming data slate. I think they're just right where they are. I don't know about all of their internal balance. There might be things that need doing in terms of their internal balance, but I think overall they're pretty good. Then we have the Chaos Demons. Again, I would put these in a similar boat to the Grey Knights. I think that at the moment they're fine. I think the Demonic Incursion is a great detachment. I think they've got some tricks and 50% win rate since the data slate. I think they don't need anything. I think they're just sitting nicely. I want to get my Slaanesh Demons out and give them a run out, actually. Then we have Deathwatch, which have a 48% win rate and a 41% win rate since the data slate. 48% win rate over the weekend. So the Black Spear Task Force is 39%. There's only 5 players that played over the weekend. One of them was George at the tournament. He did play the Black Spear Task Force. And I think his list is good. I think George can correct me if I'm wrong. I think he went 2 and 3. But I think he hasn't played much with the list, and George is a good player, and I think that once he starts getting a few reps in with that, I think his win percentage will be high. It will be above 50%. I think. I think it's a great list, and I think it can really do damage, and it can play the mission. So yeah, I think it will be really good. Next up is Chaos Knights. They did get an event win. They're at 48% win rate. I think most people run the War Dogs. So it's just War Dog spam. And what I want to see is them change it so that Chaos Knights, the big knights, are actually useful, and you want to run them with the small knights. What I'd like to see is that you get like you have to have like a big knight per amount of little knights. I just think it should be. I don't know. Like I think knights should be big, not these little dreadnoughts basically running about. That like they're meant to be almost like helping the big knights, and just yeah, I'd prefer to see that, but maybe other people wouldn't. Maybe people want to run their 13 war dogs or whatever. Thousand Suns. I think Thousand Suns again are not in a bad place. I think Magnus is brilliant, and in the right player's hands, Thousand Suns can be very very good. I'm sure they have some bad matchups, but yeah, I think they're really good. World Eaters, 28 players over the weekend, 46% win rate, 45% since the balance data slate. They might need a little bit of they had a few nerfs, might need a little bit of a push with some points or something. I think if you drop a few points, I think they'll be sitting absolutely fine. Imperial Knights, they got an event win. 21 players, 46% win rate, 47% win rate since the data slate. They've gone up. Like, they're definitely... George says, Magnus can beep, beep, beep off. What's wrong with Magnus, George? Did he touch you inappropriately? So, Imperial Knights... Yeah, I think Imperial Knights aren't bad. I think they're not the easiest faction to play. In terms of you've got a very few model count. They're not high skill or anything, but just because if you lose, you come up against. They've got a lot of bad matchups. You come up against, I don't know, anything with decent anti-tank, haywire stuff like that. You get deleted pretty quick. World Eaters delete knights reliably with Exalted and Angron. It's like, see you later, knights. So yeah, there's some real bad matchups for knights, which as it should be because there's some real bad matchups into knights. Like you've got a grey knight list, you're probably going to find it quite hard to take out knights. So it's interesting. Death Guard, I think are really good. Although they only had a 45% win rate over the weekend with a 48% win rate overall. I think Death Guard are great. Obviously, they must have some bad matchups, but I think Death Guard are really good, and I feel again you could leave them where they are. They probably don't have great matchups into Wraiths and that sort of thing, but I think you could leave them where they are and bring the Custodians and the Necrons down a bit. Maybe a couple of other things, and then they'll be fine. And obviously they're going to get a codex, and they're going to have a load more stuff, load more detachments and options and things like that. Astra Militarum, 44% win rate since the data slate, and a 45% win rate overall. Which they've had a couple of event wins. I think that they are. I think Aston Villa time are super strong in the right hands, but I don't think the internal balance of the codex is actually very good. I think you do need that out of line of sight shooting, and I feel like you should be able to take some Rogel Dawns and some Lehman Russes and not have any of the out of line of sight and do well with it. And I'm not sure how well that's going at the minute. So I don't know for what reason. Whether it's points related, I don't know, but it, it, it just seems like they're struggling to win games. But I feel like they are a good army, so I wouldn't want the points to see the points decrease too much because I think they become just OP. Yeah, but we'll see there. Tyranids, again, I feel like if you nerf stuff like Custodes and Necrons, I think Tyranids, their win rate goes up. I think you don't need to touch Tyranids too much. Eldar, I think just nerf them again because they deserve it. No, I think Eldar seem like they're in a pretty good place. They're not super strong and they're not weak. I think they're fine. They have some bad matchups. Then we have the Dark Angels with 47%. So the Iron Storm Spearhead has got a 58% win rate overall, 43% win rate this weekend. So have people become like wise to it, or are people not playing the same lists? Because a couple of weeks ago they were dominating. So interesting to see where that's going and whether that will come back. I don't know. But as we know, Dark Angels in general, their codex, they could have done with some better data sheets. I'm expected to see some Dark Angels points drops across the board, really, along with AdMech, or even detachment changes for AdMech. Chaos Space Marines. I think they need to take away, and they need to take the 18-inch Dark Obscuration down to 12 inches again. Because I don't think that one army should have it at 18 and the rest have it at 12. Like, there's so many armies that have got it, so just give it back. I think they've done what they needed to do when they changed the marks. So Mark of Nurgle tank for a unit. Just change that back to 12. Maybe do some points decreases on a few things and and they're back to being fine. Pour one out for CSM, says Ollie. Yeah, I agree. I mean, but I do think I think the army rule and the detachment rule of CSM is strong, and I don't think there needs to be that many changes to bring them back up. I do think if you change the Dark Obscuration and then like a couple of other tweaks, maybe some points tweaks, I think they're probably going to be back up there winning games. Orcs, 45% win rate since the data slate. I don't know about Orcs. I just don't know. I don't know enough about them. I think, but they're getting a codex soon, so this is all going to change. Their codex is like the next one after Tau, isn't it? So, well, that and the Custodes. So that'll be interesting to see. Space Marines, again, like, look at these win rates in comparison to the other chapters, the specialist chapters like Templars, like Blood Angels, and all that. I just feel like, yeah, Ironstorm did well, and Ironstorm is the only one that's really been doing work, and Vanguard and Ironstorm. And I just feel like they are well played Space Marines, but I still think there needs to be something done. I feel like you could give each of the Codex compliant chapters one extra rule each for each chapter when you play them as that chapter. You have to take a character, and I think that could fix a lot of problems. Might create some as well. Adeptus Mechanicus, as we know, they just need some love. They need some detachment rules changed. They need some rules changes, maybe some points drops, something. 50% win rate since the data slate though with the Skirtari cohort, but which is I think by far the strongest. But I still don't think they're doing enough. I think they just need a little bit more help. So that is the Meta Monday. website, and I'll talk through all of the results and the win percentages. Be really interested to hear your points of view on what you think the upcoming data slate changes will be. What armies do you think are going to be hit by it, like as in nerfs? What armies do you think are going to be buffed? My personal opinion, I think we're going to see Custodes get hit. I think we're going to see Black Templars get hit. Tau won't, because they've got a Codex, and we've got to see how the Codex lies. Necrons are going to get hit. Genestealer won't. Obviously, Custodes will get hit. And then I don't think there's going to be, maybe Sisters might in some way, but I don't know, because I still think that you've got to be a really good player with them Sisters too. So and then I think there might be some internal balances on a few armies and stuff. And then which ones are going to get buffed is the question. I'd say Chaos Space Marines might get a little buff to get back up. Orcs might get a little buff. This needs to be sorted. The Space Marine conundrum. Admech should get a little buff. But what I will say is about the meta in 10th is this is the best it's been. And well done to the team and Josh Roberts at GW for at least taking action and keep trying to balance the game, because it's not fun when it's really unbalanced. It's not fun for anyone. So keep doing what you're doing. Is there a date for the data slate? No. So the last data slate was actually late, I think, because of the LVO and the ITT. So I'm assuming it will be sort of end of April, because that would be 3 months, because it was like end of January, then if you got February, March, then end of April, maybe beginning of May, but I think they'll try and keep it in April, because you've got, I think there will also be some big change in the summer. So I'm assuming there's going to be a change of missions, maybe secondaries, maybe. Like I'm expecting a new, got the Leviathan card pack. I'm expecting a new card pack. I'm not necessarily thinking there's going to be massive changes in that card pack, but I think there'll be some things swapped out. Maybe some things that didn't work. They'll put some things in they think work better. So we'll be having to buy a new pack, and there'll be another sort of thing then. And they usually drop them around June. So I would think they'd want to get it out April latest. It might even be earlier, mid-April, and it will depend if there's any big events. If there's any big events they want to avoid, they'll either do it before or after. But yeah, April, I would say, if I was a betting man, that was where my bet would go. 12 faction 1 events this week. That's a great place for the game. Yeah, exactly. Back when it was just like Eldar, Chaos Space Marines, Eldar, Chaos Space Marines, Eldar, Chaos Space Marines. So yeah, it's great for the game to have 12 different factions. And also, as well, if you look in a lot of those top 10s, there's lots of different armies. There was Votann. Like if you go and look up in these top armies, where are we? You've got 4 different armies here. You got 5 different armies there. Just loads of, you've got Space Marines, Ironstorm, you've got Genestealer Cult, Necrons, Tau, Black Templars, Custodes, Demons. There's loads of variety. Votann up there winning that one. There is quite a bit of variety. There's Nids, there's Thousand Suns, Blood Angels, so Custodes. So there is a lot of variety, which is great, and that is what we want to see. We know it's hard, because when they do change things, inevitably, like they've made Custodes good, which I think has then made a few armies a little bit bad. Like I think Genestealer Cult probably struggling to Custodes. I think Orcs struggling to Custodes. So World Eaters probably struggle a little bit into Custodes. So I do think there's things that they can then that they'll change, and then you know you might not even notice a nerf or a buff, but it could nerf or buff your army because other armies have changed. So yeah, that will be very interesting. But yeah, so I think we're gonna leave it there for this week. Is there any other questions or opinions on the meta or the upcoming data slate? I think that everyone's sort of pointing at Necrons as being the big bad guy at the moment, along probably with Custodes. But what's good is they're still beatable by a lot of armies, so it's not like when Eldar were the big bad guy and it was like, no. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. I hope you guys all enjoyed the stream. I'll be back. I'm going to be doing a stream every Monday at 4 p.m. or as many Mondays as I can. If I'm on holiday or something, then I won't be, but I'll put it up. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and I will see you